You're right in time for Newsfeed. A very good afternoon. My name is Hemini Gilda Mugeni. Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has launched an investigation into how the former Interior Cabinet Secretary Fred Matiang'i made his wealth. The EACC has written to the head of Civil Service, Felix Koskei, on the matter. Former CS Matiang'i has been lately a man on the public eye following his standoff the police over a raid at his home in Karen. The anti-graft agency stated that it was investigating the former minister in accordance with Section 31A of the Public Officers Ethics Act. Now, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki has been ranked as the top-performing member of President William Ruto's cabinet during Kenya Kwanza's first 100 days in office. According to a poll by research firm Infotrack, the survey was conducted in 7 regions and in Kenya, and it covered over 2,000 respondents.
The first-ranked cabinet secretary with perceived performance is Professor Kindiki Kithure, followed by Ezekiel Machogu. Number 3 is Ababu Namwamba. Number 4 is Susan Wafula. There's a tie of number 4, both Midhika Linturi for agriculture, and number 5 is Alfred Mutua of Foreign and Diaspora Affairs. The 62% who said the country is headed in the wrong direction. What are some of the reasons that they gave? 73% mentioned high cost of living, followed by high taxation or high taxes imposed on people at 5%, unemployment at 5%, poor governance and bad politics 4% and 3%, but of course also mentioned, though in significant numbers of between 1%, is drought, poverty, rampant corruption, and unequal distribution of jobs. The government has performed, or the ministries has performed below average. The average score for the 22 ministries stands at a D steady. And these are Ministry of Information, Communication and Digital Economy at 54%, Ministry of Roads and Transport at 50%.
Now, the latest research released indicates that more than 50% of residents living in parts of the North Rift region are affected by conflict around them. The report further says the conflict is majorly contributed by the issue of bride price, with young people in the area involved in cattle rustling to pay dowry, which ranges between 30 to 60 cows, with guns exchanged for the cows.
What are some of the contributing factors to the proliferation of small arms and light weapons in Kenya? And on top, mentioned at the top is the issue around the unemployment push factors associated majorly with the young people, but also the general population. And number 2, at 20.2%, the issues around weak law enforcement, and especially along the porous Kenyan borders. That weak law enforcement has been a factor in the proliferation of illegal small arms and light weapons into the country. Also mentioned that 18% that poverty is a driving factor to engagement in small arms. The other speakers here had alluded to the fact that it's also it's intertwined with the economics of the day. That speaks clearly to the issues around poverty. Also mentioned was the need for personal protection, that in areas, in some instances where there's feeling that the government
Also, as civil society groups have faulted the creation of the office of the spouse of the Prime Cabinet Secretary and positions of Chief Administrative Secretaries, attributing them to the high cost of living, since more locations will be required to facilitate them. Speaking in Mombasa, non-governmental organization Muhuri says that he is disturbed that despite President William Ruto's promise to cut public spending by 300 billion shillings, many Kenyans are still desperate to afford their basic needs. They've also accused, or rather criticized, a decision made by the Cabinet Secretary for Trade and Industry, Moses Kuria, over foreign investors, saying that the move is more likely to scare them away.
Kenyans cannot afford a proper meal, leave alone 3 meals a day. Some Cabinet Secretaries seem to be holed up on a honeymoon 5 months after the appointment. They are shuttling from the corner of the world to another on the taxpayers' hard-earned money, with little to show for it. The most disturbing reality, fellow Kenyans, is the creation of the so-called office of the spouse of Prime Cabinet Secretary. Why, we pray tell, would a government already overtaxing its struggling citizenry add another burden to the very overwhelmed people? It is a no-brainer that the office of Musalia Mudavadi's wife will make Kenyans dig deeper into their pockets to sustain her office's budgets, supporting staff, security, vehicles, and traveling, among other expenditures, a very unnecessary creation.
Watu wanazidi kuandikwa makazi katika serikali ya Ruto, vyeo vinatengenezwa, marafiki waliofanya siasa na siasa yake ya uzi sindano ya kushona na kufumua, siasa yake miale ya kuumiza mtu wa chini. Kwa hivyo tunaona kuna concern kubwa, and is high time now watu wa rise kuzungumza masuala haya. Masuala ya siasa imeisha. Tunataka utendekazi wa kazi. Tunataka watu wapate relief. Mafuta bei iko juu, sukari iko juu, unga iko juu. Kwa hivyo tunaona masuala tunazungumzia hivi sasa nchi itaangamia.
Kwa hivyo wito wetu ni kulazimisha ama kushurutisha viongozi nyote ambao mliopigiwa kura, hamna budi bali kusimama na kutetea hali yetu kama Wakenya, kusawazisha hali ya kiuchumi.
Also, Embu Governor Cecil Mbarire, who has been elected the UDA new chairperson, has lauded the party for having confidence in her. She singled out the president, who is the party leader, and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua for showing good leadership. Speaking in Mbeere South, Mbarire expressed her confidence in ensuring that the UDA party will strengthen democracy ahead of the coming elections, as they look forward to welcoming more people to join the party.
Ningetaka kuchukua hii jukumu kushukuru Mheshimiwa Rais ambaye ndiye party leader wa UDA, pamoja na deputy wake ambaye ndiye deputy party leader wa UDA. Leo ameweza kuketi kikao kule State House pamoja na executive committee ya chama, na nikateuliwa kama chairman wa chama ya UDA, national chairman. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka kushukuru kwa sababu hii ni honor kwangu kama kiongozi, kwa watu wa Embu County, kwa sababu hatujawahi pata chairman wa ruling party katika Embu County tangu siasa zianze za multi party. Tunashukuru sana kwa Mheshimiwa Rais kwa kutupatia hiyo nafasi, na pia ni heshima kwa viongozi na wamama wote katika nchi ya Kenya. Kwa hivyo mimi nataka kuambia Mheshimiwa Rais, nitafanya kazi, nitahakikisha nimepeperusha bendera ya chama kila mahali, ndio chama iweze kupata nguvu na tuweze kutimiza yale maneno tuliahidi wananchi wa Kenya.
Tunashukuru kwa kupea Madam Cecil Mbarire ambaye amekuwa na uzoefu katika siasa. Tumejua amekuwa pale bunge for over 20 years. Sasa amekuwa governor nao ataenda 5 years. Kwa hivyo ni mama ambaye ako na experience kubwa kwa mambo ya chama. Kwa hivyo ningetaka kushukuru rais kwa hiyo position ambayo amempa, na ningetaka kuhimiza Wakenya wote mahali walipo ya kwamba chama ni UDA, wale waregister waendelee kuregister.
Over to Garissa County, where Governor Nadhif Jama is now calling on President William Ruto to personally visit Asal counties that have been affected by the biting drought in order to witness the true situation on the ground. Speaking during the launch of the Drought Response Initiative that seeks to benefit 150,000 households at the Garissa Farmers Training Institute, Governor Jama called on President William Ruto to declare drought a national disaster. Garissa is among the counties in northeastern region that did not receive adequate rainfall during the last October-November short rain season. The Kenya Red Cross Society now says close to 400,000 people are in dire need of relief food in the county.
What we want is, this is what we're doing, our short-term solutions. We need a long-term solution for the drought. We need to plan to see for the next 2 years, this situation does not happen. If drought may tokana kwa sababu ya lack of water. If we can provide water to our people for their own use and for the use of livestock, nafikiria drought haitakuwa. Saizi malisho iko, lakini shida ni maji.
Hivyo mimi, not only am I asking our president, and I know how much he's concerned about this situation. We're with him in the status and development partners just about a week or so ago. He is indeed keen and passionate about his shida ya ukame. But maybe to give the attention that we deserve to the world, maybe we'll make a formal request, and I'm doing so today, to our president, also accompanied by our minister, Waziri Aden, labda wafike hapa Garissa, ili wajionee hali vile ilivyo. Ndio then we get the full attention of really the world to come to the rescue of Garissa and the other Asal counties.
What we want is,
now, the Agikuyu culture group dubbed Kiama has engaged in a 4-day prayer ritual in Kiambu County following the prolonged devastating drought. The elders perform rituals to appease their ancestors following the drought that has ravaged a number of counties, leaving millions of people without food and killing thousands of livestock. The prayer retreat that took place at Ndakaini Shram in Gatanga constituency brought together the national leaders of Kiama, led by their national chair Ndongo wa Gaithuma, who took them through their fasting and prayers. After the prayer session, the elders urged farmers to start preparing their lands in preparation for the planting season.
Tarehe 21 mwezi huu wa pili tumekuwa hapa Dakaine, ambaye maji yale yanatumika Nairobi yanatoka Dakaine Dam, na tumejionea maji imerudi chini sana, na tunajua Nairobi hata watu wamepata shida ya maji, na hii shida inatokana na ukosefu wa mvua. Kwa hivyo tumekuja maombi, tuombe Mwenyezi Mungu atupe mvua na mvua ya kutosha.
Lengo letu lilikuwa tuje hapa tuungane pamoja, kwa maana kumekuwa na ukame, mito ikaanza kukauka, na sisi tukiwa wazee tukaonea ni vizuri tuje tuombe Mungu na tunyenyekee ili atupatie mvua. Watu wote katika nchi yetu ya Kenya wajitayarishe kwa maombi hii tulianza, na waendelee kutayarisha mashamba yao, kuanza kutafuta mbegu kama vile wanafanyaga kila mwaka msimu wa mvua ukianza.
Elgeyo Marakwet was one of the counties devoid of forest cover as a result of human activities. However, due to tribal wars, many indigenous people fled the area, leaving the land bare. Eventually, the land grew into a forest cover, but unfortunately, deforestation has significantly impacted the forest, and if measures are not taken to control the wetlands in the county, the forest may disappear once more. According to Charles Chemswet, a resident based at Kenya Rules Village, there were no water catchment areas in the place, and they depended heavily on shallow wells that they used to dig to get clean water. He added that the people need to be advised on how they can utilize their land, which neighbors the catchment area, because people are using their own God-given knowledge instead of the technical knowledge on how to use their land.
I've been running out. They go for some time, they come, they go for some time. But the last one, when we went for a long time, that was in 70s up to quite recently. The whole place generated now some woodlands, a lot of grass. And this water, all of a sudden, we found a swamp here. People had a lot of cows, by the way. A lot of cows. It used to run this place dry. That's why I told you every family had to sink their own water. You had to sink and protect it for both human beings and your animals.
We are working closely with the relevant government institutions at the county level, the Kenya Forest Service, NEMA, that's National Environment and Management Authority. Also, we are working closely with the county government to ensure that the restoration, the wetlands day restoration is marked in such a way that the community and the members of the public participate holistically and they understand why you are doing this.
Now, the Global Carbon Hub, in collaboration with the government, has culminated a 2-day workshop in a bid to reduce emissions of carbon dioxide. The Climate Action Plan for Africa founder James Mwangi said the world needs to remove 5 to 10 billion tons of carbon dioxide from the atmosphere every year for it to win the war against climate change. This comes at a time when Treasury has issued a draft National Green Fiscal Incentive Policy to the public that seeks to tax every carbon ton emitted in the bid to reduce emissions. The First Lady, through a statement read by Tourism Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza, said the carbon removal initiative needs to be considered through the principles of equity and inclusivity, as women are key in the fight against climate change.
The economy is a multi-billion-dollar opportunity and should be a replicate that current economy model that does not benefit women. This might include developing new carbon market mechanisms that are specifically designed to support small-scale projects led by women, or establishing policies and programs that incentivize companies to invest in women-led projects. This recognition must by design include real investments and economic benefits.
Planet is to avoid climate catastrophe. Africa has to take the lead. And the reason I think that we have that opportunity is we have 3 things that are distinctly part of the African value proposition. The first is our young, dynamic, and growing population. If you have a big task to do, you need a big army to do that task. And it so happens that we have been gifted by the planet's biggest army for the 21st century. The second thing we have is we have ample land and natural resources. We are an exporter of raw materials today. And the third thing is
Now, more needy but bright students in Kilifi County have continued to benefit from a scholarship program designed by a private investor in the county that will ensure that all the children from the county who scored above 350 marks in KCPE join high school. Kilifi County has at least more than 700 students who are yet to join Form 1 due to lack of school fees. In a commitment to ensure a 100% transition policy, Kilifi government has partnered with private investors to help fill the gaps and make children realize their dreams.
Na sema asante kulingana na mtoto wangu vile amepata zile maksi. Nimehangaika sana, nimehangaika mpaka nikafika mwisho kabisa, nikajua sijui nifanye nini. Lakini kwa vile juzi nilipigiwa simu hapa, nikaitwa nikaambiwa amechukuliwa, nimesikia raha sana. Yani nasikia raha, hata huyo Mungu peke yake ndo atalipa, mimi siwezi kulipa.
We want to support the family members who are here by distributing the checks. We also have seen that there is a shortage of water. We also want to supply morning and evening water supply to our community. And we also want to have the feeding program, which we have in every industry or the plant wherever we are in Kenya.
Yeah, it's true that we have benefited from the company, There are 3 classrooms and an office that were recently renovated. So right now they are being used by the GSS. We have accommodated the junior secondary school there. So we say we appreciate what the company has done to us.
Now to some sad news, and 3 people have died and 6 others continue to nurse serious wounds after the matatu they were traveling in was involved in an accident at Mbelbel area along the Narok-Nakuru highway. Nakuru Central Police Commandant John Momanyi confirmed the incident and said the accident occurred after the 2 back tires burst at the same time, which led the vehicle astray and rolled several times. Momanyi cautioned drivers and traffic police officers and also urged them to be vigilant on the roads and make sure that their vehicles are roadworthy.
I want to take this opportunity to caution our drivers that they must ensure that they observe safety rules, equally to the owners of the vehicles.